into the vastness. And then the sense of something impending wouldn't be a negative thing. It's like Christmas is coming. Your evolution is coming. Your consciousness is expanding. It's being what it should be. That's what it is. Your consciousness can't grow because it's already humongous. But it can be. You can recognize its beingness and understand it. So from what I see from the very highest perspective, especially after sitting this morning in communion with beings that would afford me the opportunity to be able to express that, I can feel it. I can feel it too. And it's not a negative thing. Although I will tell you, some people will consider it very, very frightening because they will leave their body. But that does not mean they've died. Once again, go see A Dog's Purpose. I think we need to have a great big field trip. And whoever these people were that made this film, I think we should all get together and have a wonderful time of it because it was just such a great thing. All right, so we've got this week, coming up on Friday, we've got a full moon, and it is a lunar eclipse. So eclipses always bring, a greater influx of energy, and this full moon is in Leo. So Leo rules things like education. It actually rules, on some levels, it rules education. So it could trigger some of you to think, I need more education, I need more learning. And maybe you'll sign up for a mid-semester class of some kind. So that would be favorable. It also has to do with children. So your children could be a little cantankerous or aggravating at that time because the full moon expands energy. It also has to do with love affairs. And this is the year where if you don't want a third-party interloper in your love life, it'd be one of those kinds of cycles to be careful. So in other words, that's not the night you go out for a drink and have a little too much to drink, because again, that's what a full moon can do. It expands things. So you could, put a move on somebody you shouldn't be moving on. So it's just that kind of thing. But Leo also has to do with your ego. And ego has to do with your thinking. And thinking has to do with your sense of righteousness. And if, that righteousness brings contention, where I'm right, okay, you're right, you won, W-O-N. But unfortunately, then we are no longer O-N-E. And that's what righteousness does on the downside. Righteousness actually is right use of. But of course, the word's been distorted as well on this planet. So in your thinking, as you drop it more and more, the ego naturally goes away. And what are you going to replace the dropping with? Dropping, remember, the essence of consciousness is who you are. And the essence of consciousness is who I am. Therefore, we should be able to work this out. And I respect whatever it is you need to do. I can see where it could get you in trouble. And you may or may not respect my seeing it. You may not want me to see it, or you may not want me to comment on it, and that's okay too. That on my part is learning discernment. It's called quiet. They don't need to know. And more often in life now, I'm finding with what I see, there's nothing to say about it. Even though I can see full on, it's going to harm them. There's nothing to say. So in the full moon, what are the four signs always that are kind of squaring each other that would also be up for grabs? So those of you who are Leo, Leo rising, and your moon in Leo, lots of stuff there for you this actually Thursday and Friday, because the day prior to any full moon is really the thrust of energy coming at you. It's like the aperture of a camera. That aperture is wide open. And some people have more difficult time the day before the full moon. And by the time it finally gets here, it's like they're burnt out. It's like, who cares? Okay, full moon. But opposite Leo is the sign of the month we're in, which is Aquarius. And Aquarius and Leo are what are called fixed signs. They're resistant, they're stubborn. And then the other two signs that form the whole square effect here are Scorpio and Taurus. And these are the four fixed signs of the zodiac. So wherever, look, if you are a sun sign of any of those four signs, so it's Leo and Aquarius and Scorpio and Taurus. Okay, if you're any of those as your sun sign or your moon or rising, you'll take the bulk of the hit of it. Over the weekend, I was with a lovely woman in her home doing some feng shui, and it was so interesting because she's been to, she had lived in California, and she just could poke fun at herself. It was wonderful. She's like, I did everything you're supposed to do in California. You know, she meditated, she cogitated, she stood on her head, she went to the Bodhi tree, she did it all. But she was so genuine about poking fun at it. And I said, well, I suppose then you heard that you think you are such and such. And I don't recall what, I think it was, she thought she was Libra. And I said, no, not really. Here's the Scorpio energy. It was such an eye-opener. I thought she was going to fall off the chair. So you see, it's in all of this stuff is in us. And the bottom line is, look to your resistance. Look to where you are being too bullheaded, like the Taurus, too stiff-necked, too resistant, too demanding, too manipulating. The Scorpio energy is manipulating. So look, what I'm going to be doing is look to how am I allowing myself to be manipulated? And it's very easy. We're allowing manipulation. Every time you turn on the television, you're being manipulated. Every time you buy into something that you think you must have, you're being manipulated. So it's a very powerful time and a very productive time. Use it well, use it wisely, know what's coming at you. I have to tell you another thing about this gal's home that I was in over the weekend. She was concerned about her feng shui, and it was so fascinating to really put my feng shui hat on. And the first thing she had done was, and she just lives this way, the house was impeccable. That right there is the beginning of good feng shui. There was no clutter. There was not an extra, it was like there was no fat on anything in this house. And when we got to the laundry room, I actually, at that point, I thought, I have to go home now because I have to fix my own laundry room. Her laundry room was a showplace. It was the best, cleanest, most organized, beautiful laundry room I think I've ever seen. And this house was not a $1 million home. It was a lovely, gracious, normal home. And she had the presence of mind, and she really didn't know feng shui. But the interesting thing is her laundry room in this particular space was in the center of the house. And I thought, this kid's got to have great digestion. And looking at her, you knew her health was good. Her physique was strong. She had energy. And I could see instantly, yes, she does eat well and wisely, but she's feeding her home properly also. So it's so cool to see it. And for those of you who know a little bit about feng shui, the sitting position in this house was reversed. The front of the place, which would normally be the front, was actually the back. And making it that way, it was one of her 4 lucky directions. So very interesting to see. Now, I want to remind you, you're free to call in today, 321-806-3159. I won't bite your head off, even though it's probably sounded like I would. 321-806-3159. And you're welcome today to email me, purpleportal 777@gmail.com, so that you could ask me what are your 4 lucky directions. And when you do that, when you email me, you just have to put in your birth date. So because everything is based off of your birth date for something like that. You also need to check out my website. Why do you need to check out my website? Because, number one, it's light and happy, and that is www.higher, H-I-E-R, consciousness, CONSCIOUSNESS, higherconsciousness.com. You know, I haven't mentioned much about it, but in the past couple of weeks, I did birth a new book, and it certainly makes me happy. First of all, it's a huge accomplishment. I salute any of us that are brave enough or crazy enough to write a book. But I wrote this book so that it would be very, very, again, user-friendly, and that you could open anywhere and find something, in this case, about prosperity. Because with proper abundance, you can live a life that's certainly more comfortable for you, perhaps a little safer. There's no worry hanging over your head, bills to be met and paid. You get to do a few more things. You get to perhaps go wherever, you want to travel. You learn through travel. So the name of the book, which you need to have, is Prosperity Portal, a cosmic gateway to the land of plenty. And each page has its own separate little morsel, which is why it's not like a story. Don't be sitting down and reading it for the night. You won't get anything that way. It's the kind of thing, open somewhere, first thing in the morning or during the day. It's almost pocket size is how user-friendly it is. But it has to do with a deepening of what you are about and how you get money. So here I just opened to this page. Wealth is an aspect of harmony. When living in harmony, you attract wealth, wealth of knowledge, wealth of friendships and opportunities, and, very naturally, financial freedom. Now, that doesn't sound like much, but these came through in a very powerful way to bring you information that will change the paradigm that you've been operating under probably since you were 2 years old regarding wealth. So you need your book, you need your copy. There we have that. And I see I have a caller. Hi there.
Good afternoon, Elaine.
Good afternoon. Who's this?
This is Nancy.
Hi, Nancy. How are you today?
Good.
Good.
We have loved what you've talked about today in terms of oneness and thinking along those lines and the consciousness. And you just mentioned something about your birth date and 4 direction.
Yes, your lucky directions. While it's first on my mind, I will tell you, keep watching in your mailbox because your CD on Prosperity Portal.
Thank you so much.
Okay, good. Good. You got it?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. All right. So there you go, folks. It's available CD or book. Gee, Nancy, your timing's impeccable.
Just got yesterday.
Excellent. Good, good, good. And that, too, you can almost like pop into it anywhere. It's
exactly.
Just...
in my car, at home, yes.
Yep. Okay, good stuff.
Thank you.
Nancy, do I remember you are north? Does that ring a bell, or shall I look it up?
I don't know.
Okay, what year are you born?
313.
I'm sorry, I missed the year, Nancy.
58.
Got it. Okay. So you are a dog, and you are Lee South.
Lee South?
Yeah.
Does
that sound right? 58. 31358?
Yes.
Yep, you're an earth dog, and yes, you are what is called Lee South.
Oh, okay.
So you are the South energy, and here are the 4 lucky directions for those who are South. Now, bear with me a second, Nancy, because for those listening, okay, I want to explain what the heck happened there.
And so I know, too.
Yeah. At this point, just because Nancy gave me the date of her birthday, I simply use a chart, but there are actually mathematical